everybody, welcome back. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mercury. Welcome to my channel. Today it's gonna be a home vlog and I'm doing a little bit of a garden update. So you might remember a few weeks ago after my day of adulting, I got that garden starter pod kit. So my seedlings are sprouting and I wanted to give a little update on the progress, or in some cases lack of progress. And one of the plants is ready to be repotted, or I shouldn't say repotted, I should say potted, because it's still in the initial seed sprouting pod. So join me as I get my garden going. So first things first, here's a little update. So over here on the end, these two are artichoke. Then the next two, these ones are tomato. Then over here, this is going to be the sweet pepper mix. And next to it are dill. And the dill is still very fragile. It's still baby seedlings. So the dill is definitely not getting repotted today. And the sweet pepper mix is not either. So that dill, I only recently took it out of the greenhouse starter. It's still very, very fragile. It's still very, the sod is still very moist. It is not ready to be planted and separated from that yet. And then for my other plants that are sprouting, I'm actually not going to do the tomatoes or the peppers yet either. What I've learned from the interwebs is that I need to wait for what's called the true leaves to start to come out. And the true leaves are different than the initial leaves, because the initial leaves are actually contained in the seed pod, and as they grow, they kind of push outward. Whereas the true leaves would be the first leaves that sprout following the initial push out of the seed. So the tomatoes, they're starting to get their true leaves, but I want them to be a little bit more developed. So I'm gonna show you what they look like when they're like baby true leaves. So here we are looking at my tomato plants again. And let's see if it'll focus on the leaf. Not on the floor, on the leaf. Okay, so you could see the bigger two leaves, those are the ones that popped out of the seed pod, but those two little leaves, those are going to be true leaves. And let's see if we could see any over here also. So you can see here, there's like a smaller second leaf that's starting to develop. Yeah, so I'm waiting for those leaves to become actually developed. And once that happens, that's when I'm going to plant my tomatoes. However, these artichokes. So this artichoke had 3 artichokes sprout out of it. One kicked it. One of them didn't make it. The second one is not looking so good here. This one, the leaf is decaying away. So this one I don't think is going to make it either. This one is doing okay. And this one is doing okay. So I want to get them planted and going before they turn tail and run away like the other ones. But the roots are good, because look at the bottom. You can see the roots are actually kind of poking through this a little bit. And I'll show you the other artichoke. Similarly, see the root is coming through the little mesh. So these artichokes, that they are getting replanted tonight. That is the goal of tonight. So for my planting containers, I don't do anything fancy. I went to the Dollar Tree and I found a container for planting. This time of year they have it readily available. And this one has the drain built in. So this thing like comes off the bottom. And of course, now that I'm trying to show you, it doesn't wanna. So this can come right off, and this is like a water catch. And you could see it has the drainage holes. So obviously this has 4 pegs. So 4 of those holes are not actually gonna be used for drainage, but the other holes will. So this has built-in drainage, which is great. So I have my little container here. Then I'm gonna need my potting soil. So I have leftover potting mix from last year. So I'm gonna start out with this. And then I knew I was gonna need more, so I picked up this bag. So it's a little bit different. This one is seed starting potting mix. So I figured since these are still very young plants, even though they're not baby seeds, that this should still be okay. At least I hope so. I don't know. I'm not an expert in this. It's all trial and error. So I'm trying a new soil this time. So let's get this prepped up for the artichoke transplant. Okay, so I have my soil in the pot. Excellent. To water or not to water? I think I'm gonna water because these artichokes have been very thirsty. So I think I'm gonna make this damp before I transplant so I don't have to worry about the water filtering down from the top first. I will water on top also, but I'm gonna give it a light layer of water. Layer might not be the right word. A light spraying of water. And then I'm gonna put the artichokes in. Okay, so I put a little bit of water in there. And now it's time to plant my artichokes. So let me take the little sign out. And I'm going to peel this outer mesh off very carefully. Because remember that root is poking out the bottom. I do not want to damage that. Come on. Come on, off the root. I need 2 hands to do this. Oh my gosh. Come on, it's like that root, it really got in there. Okay. Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, okay. That can go away. So now, this is what I have. So I have my plant. See that root is sticking out? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna loosen this up a little bit so that if there's any more rootage in there, it can come out, and I'm going to make a little hole so I don't crush that existing root. Okay. And that's where I'm going to have it positioned. Just like that. Over here a little more. That's going to go right there. Now I'm going to do the other one. Now, in all honesty, I probably should put these in separate planters, but I'm thinking I can always replant. So this one wasn't doing well, so this one I'm actually just going to remove. And this one died, so I'm removing that. Okay, so I broke that off at the soil level. And again, I'm just loosening this a little bit. I'm not pulling it apart, I'm just loosening it. And now this one also, I'm gonna make a little well so that the root that's sticking out the bottom doesn't get squashed. Okay. And now we're gonna cover it up. I'm doing this very carefully. Now this is what it looks like after I put all the soil in. So I covered up some of the stem to keep it like stable. I didn't want it to fall over, but this is what it looks like. Now I'm gonna go get some water and I'm gonna water my plants. So I don't have like a dedicated watering can or anything like that. I just use a good old measuring cup and does the job. It does the job. So whenever I'm doing any kind of planting and I'm using fresh potting soil, I always water it like slowly, a little bit at a time, and I can always add more because the way that the potting soil is when it's fresh compared to like after it's, you know, the plant is getting older and it's been compacted from watering every week or every few days, it like starts to pack down, but right away it's all loose and the water kind of flows through it a lot faster. So I want to water slowly, let it filter through the soil, however it's going to do it. And then if I need to water more, I will. And if I don't, I don't. And I don't have a sort of rhyme or reason as to like what my determination is for it doesn't need more water. But like I said, these artichokes have been very thirsty. I've been trying to keep their roots pretty moist. So I want to make sure their new environment is the same as the old environment since they seem to be pretty happy so far. So I want to make sure that this initial water holds enough moisture to kind of continue that environment for them. At least that's my thinking on this. Again, totally trial and error. I am not a botanist by any means. So we'll see. Also, while I was at the Dollar Tree and I was getting the pots for the plants, they also had these little placards for labeling your plants. So I wrote artichoke on it. And like, although I did have this one from the starter kit, this one, it's much more flimsy. It's like a coated paper, where this one is a plastic. So I figured for the long haul, this would be a little more sturdy. So I don't have a printer, so I can't print like a fun, fancy, cute label for it. Maybe I'll find some stickers, but I got my artichokes labeled. There we go. I got my little artichoke sign. And then my plants are here and they're watered. And remember how I said that this was catching the extra water? Watch this. So I have my little measuring cup here. I don't know if you could see this, but here. So that goes back to the having to water it a few times and making sure that it drains. And you know, the soil, it still doesn't particularly feel moist, even though that water has drained all the way through it. So I'm gonna water it one more time. There you go, my artichokes. There we go. So I think that's enough water for them. That feels like a decent amount. Once that drains through, the soil that's in there should be pretty moist. They I hope are happy. I hope they are happy artichokes now. Now I'm gonna have to let these little tomatoes keep on growing and keep on sprouting. You know, they're doing their tomato thing, so they're probably the next plants that I'm gonna have to transplant. Possibly followed by the pepper, then the dill. Let me also show you the little greenhouse and what may not be working out quite so well. Let me show you what's going on in the little greenhouse. So here's the little greenhouse. Oh, the lid already came up. Okay. So this is the second pepper pod, and this one I have not given up on yet. You could see that there is, let me turn it so you could see. There is a little pepper plant growing. You could see it sprouting in there. So this one I have faith will still sprout. But the sunflowers, I got nothing. There's nothing going on these sunflowers. And then this is the other sunflower. And like, yeah, that's the seed, but it's not. It's just on the surface. It's not actually sprouting. It's not doing anything. Like, that's just the seeds. They're not bursting in any way, shape, or form. So these ones were duds. Those were duds. And then the pumpkin, same thing. Like, I got the seeds here and they're good and moist, but they don't seem to be doing anything. Actually, yeah, see? Just pull the seed out. They ain't doing anything. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. And this is the other pumpkin pod. So it's effectively a big wad of dirt is what's going on there. So the pepper, I still have hope, but these ones, I don't think anything's happening there. But we'll cover this up. Get that heat to stay in there for the pepper pod. And yeah, we'll put that back by the window. So my friends, that is the current status of my garden. It is slowly but surely coming along. So this is always that nerve-wracking moment when transplanting plants and if they will acclimate to their new pot well, or if they're just gonna take a turn and be like, nope, sorry, not having it. Hopefully the artichokes like their new plant, their new pot, and will thrive, and that is the hope. I have never ever grown artichokes before, so this is super exciting. They were actually the first of my plants to sprout, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm excited to see them grow, and I'm excited to see the journey and evolution of an artichoke, because this is new for me. This is new for me, and every plant has its own personality and how it develops and grows. So it's really interesting. So I'm excited to see that. And then the tomatoes, I hope they work out well. A couple of years ago, I bought like a tomato plant from like the garden store, and I was like, oh, this is great, I'll have tomatoes. And as soon as I transplanted it into a bigger pot, it just took a nosedive and it did not do well. So this is my first time doing it from seeds. We'll see if the seeds do better for me than from seedling. You know, and I'm doing it indoors, so it's like, it's a challenge. And the big challenge is I want to get them up and running and sturdy before summertime, because the way my apartment is set up, I only have one air conditioner for the whole apartment. And the window that gets the most light is not in the room with the air conditioner, which means it can get very warm in there. And sometimes it gets too warm for the plants. So I have to make this debate. Do I keep it by the window where it might get warm? Or do I put it in the room with the air conditioner where it'll be the right temperature, but it's not getting sunlight? But they need to make their chlorophyll. Like, they need the sunlight. So, I don't know what to do. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. I'm not quite there yet, but that's one of the challenges I have every summer when I'm doing my garden. So we'll see. We'll see. But for now, that's it for tonight. Everything's transplanted. Everything's watered. They're in good shape for the time being. So let's try to keep them that way. With that, I am done for the night. I will see everyone real soon. And until then, stay inspired by everyone. Take care.